So one part of the conversation is what women need to do better. But there is another part of the conversation, which is what are some of the challenges that are coming to women from the cultures that they are a part of? And there are certain cultural expectations that are being made of women that we should be talking about. And I wanted to share with you a snippet from a podcast that I did with Dr. Astrid Tumenes. I don't know if she's here or she's left. I think she had to go, right? She's a senior leader in Microsoft. And she shared something very interesting about a conversation she had about a report on women and leadership, which she had co-authored. And this question specifically is for Madhavi and Christy about what we are going to hear right now, and how do you feel women should be responding to this? So if you can just hear the clip about what Dr. Astrid Tumenes said.
The report was launched at Asia Society's third Women Leaders of New Asia Summit. That's a summit that they've been doing every year. So this was the third one. And we launched the report in Shanghai, and then we went to Zhejiang to continue the summit, and there were women leaders from all over the world. But what was interesting was that in some of the sessions, particularly with our Chinese colleagues, many of them extremely successful. One was a doctor and also a CEO. So very successful entrepreneurs. They were in charge of companies. They were in charge of towns and city government. But the discussion kind of veered into this direction of what should women be like. And there were comments that just kept coming up from our Chinese colleagues. One was that women should be beautiful and soft. That phrase, beautiful and soft, just kept coming up. And they said, we can be very smart, and we can be very intelligent and make great decisions. But at the end of the day, when we are at work, we should be the ones reminding men, don't smoke too much, don't drink too much, and we should look good. We should be beautiful. So I actually stood up and I said, well, I am a woman. I consider myself a leader. I've been working a long time, and I'd also like the men to look handsome and well-groomed. And people kind of laughed at that. But at the end of the day, we had the Western side of the room cringing a little bit.
Mm. So my question is, how does one deal with this? Because if you don't speak up enough and push enough, you're not leadership material. But if you do and to speak up enough and push often, you are no longer beautiful and soft. So how does one respond to this expectation? Have you ever experienced it? Or maybe if you haven't, what is your advice to the rest of us who might be having to face this expectation?
Oh my. I don't know that I've gotten enough 360 feedback to know whether I'm being soft enough or not in moments. So I think we have to be authentic. We can't be something that we're not. So it really goes back to that. If we perceive that there's some expectation that we act in a certain way, I think that, to Mike's points in the feedback that we're getting about our effective leadership profile, we're refining and we're honing that all the time. But I don't think we can take on things that aren't who we are, and I don't think we'll ever be successful if that's the case. But if feedback is being given, it's very authentic and it's fitting for who you are, and you can embrace that and see that that is a path forward that brings an effective environment to your workplace. You take that piece on. But I think I'm lucky enough not to be in an environment where I feel immense pressure to be something that I'm not.
Right. How about you, Madhavi? What's your advice?
I wouldn't laugh that off completely, in the sense that you play the cards you're dealt, right? So if my male colleagues will meet a client and have a very avid discussion about cricket or football or a single malt whiskey, that just doesn't interest me. But I can have a very connecting conversation with the same client about his wife and his children and where they're studying and what they're doing. So I will play the cards that I'm dealt, and the men will play the cards they are dealt. So, you just do what comes naturally to you. I mean, I'd be lousy if I tried to speak cricket and football with my clients. I mean, that just wouldn't do.
Right.
So, I take that comment, a little bit deeper and not just at face value, but I think there's some merit in what was being said there. But at the same time, I go back to what I said. There are times when you need to be this alpha male, and there are times when you need to be the soft and nurturing mother. So
Yeah.
you just need to be both
Yeah,
somehow.
that's right. And I think Mike's comment earlier about emotional intelligence, when coupled with the idea of cultural intelligence. And this may sound like a very frivolous story, but it happened just yesterday, when, like a lot of women, I decided to call up my hairdresser for a last-minute appointment, which was not available. And I was trying to impress upon, it's a very senior panel. I really must look really good when I'm on the panel. Please, you have got to fit me in. And he kept saying, no, it's not possible. We're completely booked. And I was getting more and more anxious and assertive about getting an appointment. And then I shifted my stance and I said, you have to help me. It's my first panel as the program director. And I could feel an energy shift. Just let me see what I can do. And as you can see, I did get the appointment. So, I think that is great advice on being able to just, have that level of emotional intelligence and cultural intelligence. And like you're saying, in the process, to remain authentic to who you are. Because ultimately, if you stay true to you, you perform better, you're received better, right?